Hi, this is Alcan. Welcome back to my channel. As of today, we had lost 68 employees. New York City Transit due to the coronavirus. Of course, we're not including the employee that was killed by the fire on 110th Street. All because they weren't allowed to wear a mask, until it was too late. Now, you're probably wondering, those folks, is why is it a situation like this with New York City Transit? Why do we have so many people dying in the transit system? Well, unfortunately, it's because even though we had a 20-year pension after the 1966 transit strike, unfortunately, a lot of politicians and a lot of transit officials didn't like that. They also didn't like the fact that, basically they didn't like us at all. A lot of garbage here and there. Something you have to look through the history books and all that stuff. So, gradually they started taking the 20-year pension away from the employees. Something called the Kingston Act was the first one. And then gradually you got all these tier stuff. So retirement went from 20 years to around over 40. I was supposed to retire at 41 years when I entered the system. But the change in the tiers allowed me to go from over 40 years to 33 years. And that probably saved my life. Because if I had been working in the subway right now without the mask, I don't think I would have made it. We still have a lot of people sick from the virus. People are self-isolated. And of course, there's 68 people who had died. And the reason why we're having so many fatalities is the environment of the subway and the buses is not very clean. You have steel dust. You have probably what's left of the with the stuff that was used for the shoe brakes, asbestos back then. We don't know. All of that stuff was removed. So. And then you have other stuff, you got lead and all that other stuff they're trying to get rid of. So, fortunately, you can't get to every nook and cranny in the transit system and clean it up. Buses also have chemicals, and they have the diesel fumes from idling buses in the system, in every barn. Some cases, like in the wintertime, they run those suckers all night in the barn. So yeah, you're all gonna get sick. But the mask should have been given out a long time ago, as far as back as 2001. But, as I was said in previous videos, because of Lawrence G. Reuter, also known as douchebag, we didn't get the mask that we really needed. What we had was a one-time use mask for emergencies. Not everyday use, like the N95 mask. And that one-time mask cannot help you in a fire. It'll help you for any nuclear, biological, or chemical that might happen in the system. Of course, it doesn't do you any good if the mask is on your leg or in a bag and somebody coughs the coronavirus all over you. Yes. So basically, that's part of the problem. A lot of politicians have not come up the bat and try to fix this problem. I mean, we had to try to fix a tier 6 overtime problem, and it was passed by both the Senate and the House up in Albany, and Governor Cuomo vetoes it. So this is a major problem. But yet, Long Island Railroad Metro North employees have a 20-year pension, and not us. We are being overworked, breathing all this garbage in the system, and we're getting sick. That's why you're not seeing the numbers like this on Metro North or Long Island Railroad. Only, last week we had the first employee from Metro North pass from the coronavirus. So, I'm not sure anybody from Long Island Railroad passed away. But the fact is, we are not considered like in the same esteem as the police and the fire department in New York City. We're at the bottom. Even sanitation gets more respect than we do. And that is a sad fact. And by the way, they tried to put the Long Island Railroad under the same tail law as us back in the 90s, but it flopped. So that's why they still have the 20-year pension. That's not going to change. So, what it should be changing is, because of what's happening here, they should revisit this and think, well, maybe we should start changing the pension system so these guys could get out after 20 years. Because what good is it you're working 30, 40 years in the transit system, you come out and then you drop dead. Or you have some element and then you can't do much. And you're sucking up the, what do you call it, the benefits. And causing more problems because now the taxpayers have to pay for unnecessary health problems. I mean, let me put it to you in another way. You had 3 employees, one from Metro North, one from Long Island Railroad, and one from New Jersey Transit. For whatever reason, they're in the 30 years in those agencies. And all 3 of them had an accident because of sleep apnea. Of course, I'm talking about the spine diver accident on Metro North, the accident on Long Island Railroad at Atlantic Avenue, and the Hoboken incident in New Jersey Transit. These guys were over 30 years of service, and around my age group, working in the morning. The sleep apnea, boom, got them. Next thing you know, they wake up on the floor and the train's wrecked, and don't know why. Thing is, they didn't know they had it. Now, that had been a transit employee that did that, even with the proof of sleep apnea, they would have tried to take them to jail. Yes. Because they're always thinking transit employees always on drugs or alcohol from the 1991 accident. Now, the thing is, we could have had a heart bill, a lung bill. This could have been called a taxing job, but they refused to do any of that. You know, we're wasting money going out to Albany trying to get these changes, and we don't seem to be going nowhere. The only good thing of coronavirus, if there is such a good thing of this crazy virus, they just suspended some of the outdoor service because they found out because they need social spacing, and you can't social space in a 4-car G train, can you? In rush hour? No. So the auto is suspended on the G line. I know that superintendent must be pretty pissed. He's losing his money. Well, I don't care. Because without, though, they have to remove the conductor and operate smaller trains. But because of the coronavirus and the social spacing, that G train's not running A-car trains. So he's losing money. I don't care if he loses money. He should lose his money, his pants, and his shirt, and his house. I don't really care. If he's one of those gun-ho auto freaks. So there it is. The thing was, the auto thing should never have happened, but they shoved it down our throats anyway, because we had a corrupted union official, Tommaso Seda, didn't know what the hell he was doing, and Sonny Hall had to remove him from office and put him in the International before he lost the union to New Directions. Well, unfortunately, he lost it anyway, years later. So, the thing is, if you folks out there in Albany, you should reconsider changing our pension systems and other legislation for our health, so that we don't wind up 30, 40 years working out here, getting sick, and then something happens. I mean, look, you had police, fire, EMS, sanitation working 20 years. But us, no, you want us working 40 odd years or more. That's insane. And let me tell you another thing. There was this nice guy who was a motorman. He worked for the system for 47 years. 47 years, right? So one day he comes into the crew room, or whatever he came in to report. Everything was fine 1 minute. Next thing you know, he's on the ground. I think he had a stroke. At least he was lucky. At least he died in the hospital with his family around him. A lot of times that doesn't happen. You had a motorman on the G line had a heart attack, dropped dead after he left Court Square. This is a taxing job. They refuse to admit it's taxing. But they say farming's taxing. Okay. I guess it's because if you don't vote a certain way, the farmer's going to take that tractor and run you over. We can't do that. We can't take a train and run out the hole and run you over. No, it's not going to work that way, is it? No. So I know that I'm being funny, but realistically, you are killing us. Albany, you are killing us. And I think it's time you do the right thing. And when this crisis is over, we should be improving our pensions, our health benefits, and everything to reflect what's happening. Because the next time this happens again, and it could happen again, another pandemic, it might be worse than this one. Then what are you going to do then? Remember, because if we're working 30, 40 years down the system, we're bringing a lot of that stuff, and we've already been compromised prior to the coronavirus. So yeah, it's going to attack us even harder. And you know, in some cases the ventilators work, in some cases they don't. And as you saw 68 times already, it's not working for us. And by the way, one other thing, we have an employee named Ben Shapiro. I think I got it right. Yeah, I know this guy. He's fighting for his life right now in Maimonides Hospital in Brooklyn. He needs plasma A. Needs somebody who had the virus to come down and, call him up, see if you can do a blood test, see if you're compatible to try to save them. But also, it doesn't matter if you had the blood test or not. I think you all should try to do it. If you have suffering from the virus and you're okay, you're more than 14 days in the clear, try to volunteer for the plasma because you could save a life. So this is our kid saying so long for now, and don't forget to stop. I know, you're probably wondering why is my mask upside down. Some people do not like the messages on here. So salty. Which unfortunately what's happening to us at transit is very salty too. All right, take care. Bye.